Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. I have a big conversation today. One of those conversations, that we find it difficult to talk about. Having a YouTube channel, at my age, it's something, hesitation and procrastination. It's something I have been meaning to do for some years now. And I just decided last minute to say, okay, last week, to say, okay, let me go ahead and start the channel. And talk about life in the diaspora because I've been in the diaspora now for about over 23 years. So I'm in the know as to, what is happening in the diaspora with regards to raising children, marriages, and all. So my take on certain issues in the diaspora, first and foremost, I'll start with marriage. You marry that man now. Don't marry and finish. Everything is fine in Nigeria. You come or it's fine in Africa. Men find it very difficult to adapt. Find it very difficult to adapt. So why women were more flexible? And if you look at marriages where the age gap is a bit high, where the man is much older than the woman, you have situations whereby the woman still has time to adapt, and the woman goes ahead and goes to school and all that, and the man feels they always feel that Nigeria is where life is for them. So there's that difference, and then there's that problem. How are you going to assimilate? How are you going to settle down in this society? Precisely, I've been in Dublin. I've been in Dublin Island for this number of years. I've traveled a great deal, but I've actually raised my children, my family in Dublin. Now, my story of migration is quite different. So, I wasn't hungry in Nigeria, and I wasn't looking for um, opportunities. At that time, I just finished from Nigerian law school, and uh, it was quite known in Nigeria then that if you come to Dublin Island to give birth, you're going to have the Irish passport for your children. And that's all I came to do. So I came to give birth to my third son and get the passport. While I was preparing to come, we just said, okay, myself and my husband had finished law school, I've been called to bar. So my husband said, oh, we said, let's just go and see if we can get this passport for the two elder children. So that's how the journey started. So I got into Dublin. I stayed with a family. They were very, very good because now thinking of it to reside with a family with their own children and their own responsibilities. I stayed with them for a long while. I stayed with them for about 8 months, And while we were there, I gave birth. And of course, my son got his passport and my children got their residency. And at that time, they were like, oh, just stay so that, in the next how many years you're going to get 2 years or so. Immediately after birthday, you're going to get your permanent stay. And then after 2 or 3 to 4 or 5 years, you're going to get your passport for your children. So I was like, okay, that's fine. I had just finished school, really. So I wasn't really working per se. So I wasn't practicing, per se. So I had time. And I said, okay, I'll probably go back home and I'll be shuttling between Ireland and Nigeria. So that was the initial plan I had. And we did that for some years, actually. I was shuttling between Ireland and Nigeria. So the children were in school in Dublin while my husband was in Nigeria, and I was shuttling between both countries. And we did that for a while. And of course, things started going, a bit astray in Nigeria. For my husband, his job at that point in time, he started having issues with his job. And he suggested that, okay, why don't you just stay a while before I settle? Because he had no intention. He used to come and see me in Dublin. He gets his visas, he comes to see me. But he never really wanted to settle. So he now said, okay, why don't you settle? Why don't you just stay with the children? And give me like a year. Let me settle myself. Let me build a house because at that time we're living in the company accommodation. So we're living in the company accommodation right there in Victoria Island. So it was a very lovely flat, and that's all we moved from Yaba, and then we went to that place. So life was actually, and we had good savings with us. So it wasn't as if we were in need of money per se. But my husband was like, okay, stay with the children. They should start school, and then you can now go ahead and come when I settle. I'll build a house, and then to settle when you come. And I thought of it. It made sense because actually, I said, okay, no problem. So I came back to Dublin, looked for accommodation, was able to get a place, and then the children continued with their schooling, and then my husband started building the house, the family home right there in Lagos. So I said, okay. So the plan was that by the time he finishes building, we would have also, the children would have finished secondary school and then we'll come back. We'll have finished primary school and then we'll come back to Ireland. So that's the story so far. And that was the plan. So to cut a long story short, while the children were going to school, I now told myself that I was getting bored. You drop them in school, you clean the house. Yeah, I felt as if I was just wasting. That was how I saw it at that time. So I said, okay, what do I do? So we're talking with her. I was talking with a friend, and she said, have you heard of nursing? I said, nursing. Oh, what nursing? I've never heard of nursing. From law to nursing. What a job. And she now said that it's very good that there's another type of nursing, not the nursing I know of. And there's a nursing called mental health nursing. I was like, mental health nursing? She said, yes. I said, so what is it about? She told me. I said, okay, I checked it online and I saw it. I said, it's not too bad. You don't get to do any personal care or any of those things. And not that it's bad doing personal care because, people have to do personal care. People have to look after people. And it's not very tedious as general nursing, because it's not very tedious, physically tasking. So I thought at that time because I'm from Nigeria, I had the normal notion of what healthcare nursing is. I even never ever thought of nursing. And when I told my husband, was like, what was that from law to nursing? No, you finish and come back. But trust me. So I started so long social. I got into mental health nursing, qualified as a nurse, and I truly, truly enjoyed it. Truly, truly enjoyed it. So that gave me something to do, gave me time. And then my husband finished the property in Nigeria, and we were now supposed to expected to go back. But now things have taken a different turn. We now said, okay, let's wait for the children to finish the secondary school. So that's how my journey started from just come and give birth to 23 years after. I'll see you in the next